Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends. I'm going to speak as a member of the Global South here, for whatever it means. When there is talk of global change in the present time, it is typically about a fundamentally asymmetric dynamic. In its benefits and risks, globalization works less well for poor countries and for poor institutions within developing countries. The global knowledge divide today is almost a mirror image of the world poverty divide. Globalization has exacerbated the existence of two worlds coexisting in space, yet far apart in well-being. Inequality and deprivation persist, and poverty is everywhere. Of course, these problems existed before, but globalization seems to have accentuated exclusion and deprivation, for it has dislocated traditional livelihoods and local communities. According to conventional knowledge, reducing poverty requires that poor countries upgrade their technologies, master and produce knowledge, and invest in innovation. That's it, that's the solution. But this is easier said than done, particularly when we realize that poverty can no longer be seen as something isolated, particular, but that it is a growing part and parcel of the increasingly unsustainable contemporary world. In the process of achieving sustainable, lasting development, we must solve various problems that we have never experienced in the past. Since the well-trodden paths prove increasingly useless to solve them, we must take a step, or rather walk into, or jump into, I don't know, the unknown territory of creativity, discovery, and invention. We must ask what mechanisms, particularly in activities such as higher education and research, as obvious as they are resilient, block the effectiveness of science in contributing to human well-being and environmental sustainability, and act in consequence. One limitation of the orthodox view of research is the unquestioned faith in unharnessed science and technology as the solution to world's problems. Many people propose transcending the reductionist, fragmented vision of science as it developed historically in its attempt to understand the world and embrace a more pluralistic view of relevant knowledge. Fields like that extend from medicine to agriculture have begun to recognize that the modern world has paid a high price for rejecting traditional practices and the knowledge, however expressed, that underpinned them. The need to include other knowledge forms and perspectives into the scientific endeavor poses important methodological challenges to science and technology for human and social development, as it implies adopting truth and quality criteria that are more sophisticated and better able to incorporate complexity than those conventionally accepted by the scientific community. In recent years, we have become aware of the importance of linking the various scales of interaction. Development specialists often mention the limited understanding of multi-scale interactions as one of the main obstacles to be overcome. New organizational models of international transdisciplinary assessments, IPCC, Millennium Ecosystem Assessment, Arctic Council, etc., open up new possibilities for integrating knowledge through a wide range of disciplines and development experiences with the involvement of an extensive set of stakeholders. So we begin to know how to do it. Related to this, we need a coordinated global approach that ensures equitable access to quality data and information for research, education, and informed decision-making. Improved monitoring of the Earth system will allow us to detect, attribute, and understand change and the future implications of change. But not only that, the international scientific community must be actively engaged in the production of socially robust knowledge within an extended participation framework. Knowledge institutions are called upon to seize the opportunity to build a foundation of civic and democratic values and skills that may inspire social cohesion and purpose and enable future leaders to overcome racial and ethnic tensions, dogmatism, and religious extremism. We must urgently give attention to cultural diversity in research within the framework of global change, envisioning the sustainability transition. And this does not mean simply increasing the percentage of particular underrepresented social groups in a campus population. Rather, diversity encompasses a network of values, policies, practices, traditions, and resources that provide coping mechanisms for students and faculty from relegated or excluded groups, thus serving as a sounding board for the wider society. Taken together, the rules and conditions of the new international agenda are bound to curb the use of industrial policy, technology policy, trade policy, and financial policy as strategic forms of intervention to induce socioeconomic development in developing countries. In the current setting, public science policies, while secondary to the aforementioned ones, could help foster that domestic research and development activities needed to build comprehensive national capabilities in harmony with global projects aiming at equitable development. Any rethinking in this field must involve a balanced view of the significance of state intervention, supranational powers, social institutions, and politics in science, and the critical role of good governance. The economic drivers of financial constraints of science are huge. Despite the importance of sustainability concerns and the centrality of science and technology in the strategies for achieving it, there is a great imbalance in the resources and attention devoted to putting research in the service of the aims of sustainable development. But economics is not the only thing standing in the way of much needed change. The inertia of those intellectual structures that define and regulate our thoughts, be they called paradigms or frameworks or mental models, must be recognized by whoever would wish to change them. If science is to effectively address sustainability problems, effectively really, it must be produced in a way that allows it to be linked more easily and rapidly to action communities. It is very likely that it will be reformulated and even transformed through multiple dialogues and interactions among the individuals, groups, and institutions that generate and ultimately apply new scientific and technological knowledge. The implementation of new knowledge and technical capacities by different social actors, including government, natural resource managers, industry, and society in general, should not be a final phase in a research program, but rather an integral part of it from the very early definition of the problem. These are the kinds of challenges that have prompted the creation of IHDP several years ago, and now I know better from Heidi how the process came along, and that inspired its strategic plan for 2007-2015. The urgency of, and this doesn't move anymore, the urgency of, what, disappeared, of the time, I don't know, it just went away, of the situation demands that we really look at these challenges, at these themes that we have in our agenda with very strong care, with very strong passion, and with very strong commitment. I would like to finish simply by conveying to you the very best greetings of the Council of United Nations University, to which I belong, that are looking into this with very great expectation. Wishing you a very good meeting. I say thank you very much.